associated places, you will thoroughly enjoy what you see and what you experience. There's a wonderful presentation of not only vegetation but also ocean delights, and probably more so than the physical environment would be the human environment that you experience as you travel the area and you travel these trails. Some of you I know will be visiting and hiking on the East Coast Trail, and again you will find that absolutely enthralling. I'm told you arrived yesterday and you by now have experienced the kind of weather that we have here in Newfoundland and Labrador and in St. John's on a regular basis. I have to say that because you really don't know any different. Some of the best trails that you'll find, I think, will be the trails that maybe you create yourselves. And I'll tell you a little story. About 3 weeks ago, there was a group here from the Canadian Home Builders Association. And the executive director of the Newfoundland branch, Victoria Belbin, called me one day before they arrived and said, "Will you take a dozen of them for a walk around the old part of St. John's?" Because she knew that by profession I'm a historian, so that I would have known the history of the area and the associated folklore, and I can improvise, and I can exaggerate, and I can tell little white lies if need be. So I agreed, and I went down to the Sheraton Hotel, and I met Victoria and about a dozen of these brave individuals from across Canada. And we walked down Temperance Street to the Port Authority, which is that if you're staying, how many of you are staying at the Sheraton? Yeah, so you know that hill that goes down toward the harbour? That's Temperance Street. We're all, in this province, we believe in temperance. We walked down to the Port Authority building, where the Terry Fox Monument is, and then we walked back up Temperance Street, and then I took them out the Lower Battery. And part way out the Lower Battery Road, which is going out through the Narrows, we then went up to the Upper Battery Road. And when we got to the end of the Upper Battery Road, there was nowhere else to go if you wanted to go up Signal Hill, except retrace your steps and go back the Upper Battery Road and then walk up Signal Hill. So I said to them, look, if you're up for it, we'll find our own trail. And we did. In about, I guess maybe 20 or 25 minutes, we started on a lady's front porch, front step, and she was out having a cup of tea. She didn't mind the fact that we were walking on her front doorstep. And we found a little brook here and a little trail here and a few rocks right here that we could hang on to. It wasn't treacherous or anything like that, but gradually we found our way up the side of Signal Hill, and we came out almost next to the Queen's Battery. And everybody thoroughly enjoyed it. It took about 25 minutes. We didn't know where we were going, but we knew we were going up the hill, and we knew we had to come out at some point. And we did. We came out at the Queen's Battery, and we walked around, and I gave them the history of the British and the French wars, and then we walked down to the Parks Canada building there, and went out on the road, and came back to the Sheraton. All told, it took maybe 45 minutes, but I'm sure where we walked had not been walked by anybody for hundreds of years, if then. And that was part of the experience. So I invite you not only to walk the explored areas, but also walk the unexplored areas, and I can guarantee you it'll be a real treat. And if you need a guide, I recommend Chris, because he can yell. If you need a guide, I'm available. So I thank you very much for being here. Enjoy our city, enjoy the experience, and I wish you all the best in all your writing endeavours. Thank you.